one of the other big pieces inside my heart that hurts is the fact that, like, growing up, there was a signature to being an Oregonian.
Yeah.
Like, there was, because you know how every state usually has their own, I don't know if you want to call it a culture or subculture, but like they have their own way of living, right? And their own way of talking to each other and socializing or whatever. And Oregon was no exception, right? So we always had this, we had the point of pride where it's not the country. Nobody ever said, oh, we're from America, we're from the United States, whenever they went anywhere else in the world. They always said, I'm from Oregon or I'm Oregonian. That's one of the things that Oregonians were always known for. In fact, if you ever went up into, especially up through about 2015, if you ever traveled up to the Yukon or the Northwest Territories, one of the things that they loved up there, the people who actually live there, right? They love is when Oregonians visit, because they always are so proud of being Oregonian and being from Oregon. It's, to us, our nationality almost is Oregonian or Oregon. It's not, the country doesn't almost exist. We don't have any pride or care about that. It's always been our actual home, which is our state, right? It's the thing that we're building. And on top of that, like, it wasn't an arrogant pride point either, like usually national titles are, right? Or
Yeah,
like,
no
I'm
kidding.
from America. Why ain't you speaking English or something? You know, like, don't you know how to speak English? What the hell? I don't know why I became Southern for that either, because actually probably it's more often city folk that do that actually from here, I bet, because they're the most arrogant usually.
No kidding.
But still, you know, like, we have that, you have the fact that, like, we had our signature way of being, which was always considered cold and rude to outsiders, but it's just being private people. Like, we're just very to ourselves. You know, we have our tiny little inner circles, and we like to keep it that way. We don't like to outwardly socialize and reach out and be like, hey, how you doing? Where are you from? Can I help you? Where do you want to go? Like, we aren't like that.
Wasn't exactly like that. Was
enclosed people.
That wasn't it when my father was moving over here.
Yeah.
He was getting. He had the bird flipped at him.
No, I was gonna say, actually, that is one keystone that's always been true about Oregonians ever since the birth of the state, is every generation of Oregonians, it's not taught, it's literally born into us for some reason. I know this for sure because my family, I didn't grow up around anybody who hated Californians or did not fuck with Californians, especially Southern Californians, and had this like innate hatred for them. Like, go the fuck back home. Like, we are genuinely bigoted when it comes down to Californians. If you're from especially the LA area, you can fuck yourself. Like, we do not tolerate your existence here. And the funny thing is that it lasted up until like 2012 to 15-ish.
Wow.
Because that was when the Californication, because of the stupid fucking Los Angelinos mainly, and the San Franciscans, that all moved up here in mass, right? That's when they forced the Great Replacement. Like, there's actually a true Great Replacement, but it's happening in Oregon only, especially from about 2010 to 2012, all the way through to right around now, really, which is that the mass majority of born and raised multi-generational Oregonians don't live in Oregon anymore. They moved the fuck out during that period because they did not want to be here while it got turned into California 2 or 3. Which it absolutely fucking has been being turned into that, and it still is. They're almost like a joint fucking state at this point, because the government, whatever the Oregon sees California does, they just have to go and do it themselves.
Yeah,
and the same with fucking
do themselves.
Same with Washington. It's like, you're a different fucking state.
Do something different.
Fuck yourself. Like, we're not California. Go off a cliff and die by implosion. It's violently wrong to us to do anything Californian, especially Southern Californian policy-wise, because fuck Southern Californians, man, seriously. Unless you're from San Diego. That's the funny thing, too, is that usually, once people from Oregon, we find out you're from San Diego, we're fine. It's, if you're from anywhere else in SoCal, though, you need to go fuck yourself off a cliff and die, or move elsewhere, because we don't fucking like you. Literal statistics. And this is the odd part of this, the funny and odd part, fun fact, is that California didn't get its first mass immigration, so, you know, emigration, moving into the state until 1950.
Wow.
And the second big wave, and that's really when it started to boom in population, all the cities started to rapidly grow, was the 1960s.
Oh, grand.
What's funny is, by So California like no population until like 1955 to 1960, and that's really when it started to gain population. So it finally had a decent population, and then by like 1970, it was loaded with people.
Wow.
So what's weird about that is that you think that couldn't have any impact when they moved out of the state after they only lived there for like 5 to 20 years, but you'd be fucking wildly wrong. Again, especially from the San Francisco or the LA area. Because by 1970, they had data and statistics that they could wave around, proving that as soon as people moved there and then moved out of there after 5 years or more living in California, especially SoCal or the Bay Area, and they moved to a different state, that state would go to fucking shit immediately. Everything would begin to be turned into another California, and everybody hated them. And that's why, actually, if you think about it, you look at the data and statistics throughout history, the entire country's the most hated state population-wise at every state is California and Californians. And it's always the same resource or the same basis of why. But think about that. 1970s, right? They didn't have their first big move-in until 1960, 1950s, 1960s, especially 1960 or so. That's when everybody started moving to California. And by 1970, in Massachusetts, in Oregon, in I think Texas, and there's one other state, I think it was New York, the people who had lived in California for 5 or more years already, but data and statistics could be proven that they were already pissing everybody off when they moved to those states. And they were changing things so fucking fast to mimic what they already experienced and they were building in those cities and in those places that they were building up in California. Not even sometimes 5 years prior. And so in 1975 or so, Governor of Oregon, Tom McCall, started his fucking campaign to tell Californians to get the fuck out if they already moved here. And then the other thing was, what he did is he had the campaign, which was actually brilliant. It was super funny, and we've loved it and cherished it ever since in Oregon. If we're born multi-generational Oregonians, is if Californians come up here to visit, right? We're like, you can visit as long as you don't stay and you go the fuck back home. In other words, don't you fucking move here. And it was super funny because everybody heartfelt adopted it, like with the wholeheartedly adopted that motto. And that's where like a lot of the original signs, all the rest of the states got that from Oregon, which is those basically like thanks for coming, now fuck off signs, you know, when you're leaving the state, basically like, in other words, exclusionaries. Like if you're not multi-generational from here, you can go fuck yourself. Specifically though, with California for us. So it's just like, if you're from California, Oregon is that way, and it points to like Idaho or something, you know what I mean? Like all of those memes started with Oregon and Tom McCall, because and it's funny actually too, by the way, in case you don't know, Tom McCall is actually a Massachusetts. He's from Massachusetts originally. He spent most of his life here in Oregon, obviously, so that's why he had his career here. And why everybody considers him an Oregonian anyway. It's really an honorary, but you get the idea. He went to school here, so on. Tom McCall was the guy who got the data and made it a national level data, where it was already collected that way, but he did it to prove a point, which is that there really is such a thing as Californication. I know he wants to make the reference immediately.
Exactly.
To the Red Hot Chili Pepper song.
No, actually, David Duchovny.
You have to take that into consideration, and then obviously every year since, you collect more data, and it's just some of the best data you can have, again, as you and I have always agreed on, is lived experience.
Exactly.
What have we noticed, especially the last 15, 20 years in Oregon? Everything's becoming Californiaized. Everything's becoming Californiaized. Especially LA, California.
All right, dude, I'm just going to say this. And now,
have you ever noticed all the storefronts, right?
Yeah.
They all of a sudden all started adopting the LA architecture and like paint codes and stuff. The fake palm trees started coming in out of nowhere. And it's like the Washingtonias, I think, is the technical palm tree.
What's even worse?
It's just like, what the fuck is happening here?
You know what I've noticed? Freaking apartments. Do you know how much an apartment over there in California costs?
It's over 2,000 in any of the cities.
Sometimes usually. 3.
I know, yeah. It's fucking stupid, and that's for a 1-bedroom or a studio.
Yeah, that's for a 1-bedroom or a freaking studio.
And then, of course, all the New York City people will come in and be like, "Well, that's nothing. Have you seen the studio apartments that are like 200 square feet? That are they average like $5,600 a month." You're not special. Fuck you. Nobody likes you
you're
either.
Not special. Fuck you.
Nobody fucking likes you either, you prick.
Yeah, durr.
And I know that's the way you like it, because that's how New Yorkers are. You're fucking hardened assholes who like being known as assholes.
Exactly.
You told to fuck off. You're like getting a fuck off competition. So fuck you.
For crying out loud, though, Jiminy Criminy, though, here, freaking market apartments, 1,400.
It's actually higher if you're in Portland. Obviously, it's like 16 to. Actually, no, I think it's like
16 to 1,700.
Yeah, and that's slightly lower than it was for a few years. I think it was actually upwards like 1,900 for a 1-bedroom.
Wow.
And the average 1-bedroom in Oregon is at least in the Portland area, is like 700 to 750 square feet. I mean, this is 755 square feet, so it's really nothing at all. We're already considering moving out, and at affordable income, 755 square foot, 1-bedroom apartment here in a high crime area, by the way, by insurance companies, which is God forbid true, because like even the police will jockey and try to pawn off each other's calls because they just do not want to respond to this neighborhood because they're so sick of it. And that's been that way for years now. So insurance rates are through the roof too, and yet affordable income in this apartment, you know what it fucking is? $1,050 we've been paying this whole year. That is true in that essence, that with Californians, especially Southern Californians, if you're from San Francisco, part of the Bay Area, you can fuck yourself to Oregon, born and raised Oregonians, multi-generational, because we have precedence for it. We have a good reason for it. And now even more so. And you, as a born and raised Californian from San Diego, can attest, as you already have now in this episode, to the good reason that we fucking have, including the sociological aspect, right? Because not even sociopolitical, just socially, people are so much more cliquey, and they're so much more vain, and they're so much more shallow, and they're so much more appearance based, and there's so much more just petty pieces of shit.
Dude,
and
that is like, so true.
All they care about is their stupid fucking fragile public image, and it's like, that's not even you though. There's a reason why it's called a public fucking image. It's because it's manicured, it's fake. It's because it's how you want to appear, and what you think is important, not actually who you are. And yet these people always have it all up in their identity is only their facade. It's nothing else. So they don't really even know who the fuck they really are because they don't have any substance.
No kidding.
Below the persona. So it's so, and that's what especially the LA area is known for, right? That's infamous. It's like that's all that's there. It's like soulless people just about. They're just all they care about is fame or like how do I look or like status or some shit.
The thought that comes to mind, you know? When you said Californication, in this case, it reminds me of zombification of the people. Actually,
that's a decent way to put it, yeah. It's fucking sucks here for that reason. Plus, again, it's always those really aggressive zombies, too, is what I would have to add. It's the aggressive, not the sleepy type, it's the aggressive type. They're going to fucking bite your fucking face off.
Yes, they are.
And they're going to do it with as much prejudice as possible because they have whatever excuse they justify in their head in a flash of a moment, even though you're a complete stranger. They don't know anything about you. They're going to immediately assume they know everything about you because you said one word or like 2 sentences and a joke and they didn't like it. And that means that you're now
your persona non grata.
All the pejoratives in the book. And it's like, that's how these people are known to be. And you wonder why everyone has this prejudice against them. There's a lot of damn good reasons for it. Besides the fact that, again, everything gets so to shit when it comes down to also the price of just existing in your own home skyrockets because the fucking Californians came in and now they're changing everything to a California 2 or 3. And it's just like that. And again, like there's a book, I think a book is what dubbed it, like an author, I think in like the 60s or 70s himself that called it Californication, I think. Like it was dubbed then because it was it was already a very obvious lived experience and data collected thing of like, you could live there for like 5 years and already you're fucking everywhere else over and trying to mimic it. And yet you left it because you didn't want it. He's like, oh, it's getting bad here already. It's getting too populated. There's too many. The policies are not great. You move somewhere else, and what do? You try immediately to bring all this same things with you. This is why people say leave your fucking politics back. If you move from somewhere, especially if it's sociopolitically, for that reason, like one of the dominant reasons, you leave that shit behind you. You know, like you don't. I would add, in my eyes, you don't have to add their politics, the new states or areas' politics, to your and make that yours. But don't learn from your fucking where you came from that you're moving out of as like a socio-political refugee in a way, because that's why one of the main reasons you're moving, right, is because you can't stand it there. It's going to shit. So what do? You learn from what happened, how it happened, how the history in it progressed to that point, so you don't repeat it again elsewhere.
Exactly.
It doesn't mean you have to inherently accept whatever those politics of your neighborhood, new neighborhood you moved into, your new state is. You can still be entirely different or even opposed, but like just learn from the shit that you're moving from.
No kidding.
You know?